What's up, everybody? I got my different mask on. I don't use this one when I'm actually demoing. I'm just doing it now because I've just been moving around on the boat a little bit. So take a look what we got so far. As you saw in the last video, we actually went ahead and completely demoed out the transom, so that's looking good. A lot of hard work put into that thing. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to move on to phase 2, which is this whole entire front piece. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of stuff to do under there. It's going to be a lot of work. We're going to get to it piece by piece. So first and foremost, there's some hoses in there. I tried to remove the worm clamps on it, and they definitely won't undo. So I'm just going to take the oscillating blade and we're just going to snip them off. So that's what we're doing so far here. I'm going to switch masks. I'm going to get on my regular mask, my full face mask, so we can rock and roll and start demoing. Whew, I'll tell you what, it is pretty hot today. So I just went and cleaned around my mask a little bit here, making sure I'm not putting fiberglass strands all over my face. So I'll go ahead and finish suiting up, and we'll go under there and start chopping off those lines. Okay, so you can see I'm underneath the boat, and what I'm referring to is like this worm clamp definitely will not come off. It's stuck, and same thing with this. So I'm just going to cut these hoses off with the oscillating tool, and then while I'm here, I'm probably going to cut along this edge. And if I'm feeling frisky, I'll cut along that edge in there. Otherwise, I can do it from on the inside. Okay, so you can see daylight along that edge. And then I just whipped off that one and this one too. So there really isn't much room to get back there. So I'm going to go from the top and finish removing this live well. Okay, so I actually tried to cut it from the top all along the edge, but I can't get my head underneath here to see where exactly I'm cutting and where I'm not. So what I decided to do was to remove it in two different sections here. So what I did is I cut along the edge that I could see, and then what happened there is it drops this little tray down, and I'll remove the tray and then kind of work a little bit more underneath from the underneath side to try to find out where the seam is that I have to cut. So that's where I'm at so far. We're moving right along. I think what I may do, so I have better access to this seam, is I do plan on cutting further over anyway on this side. So it's like, why even bother trying to, cut all this underneath here? Because I'm just going to elongate it anyway. So probably what I'm going to do now is I'll get my straight edge and duplicate what is over here the best I can, and then we'll start cutting that out too. All right, so with a lot of patience, and I mean a lot, we got this out. It was a lot of work. So what we'll do is we'll go underneath at this point and kind of get any little pieces that are still lingering underneath there and kind of clean it up a little bit. Alright, so check this out. Now, you could do a few different things. You could trace that out exactly, or if you like, you can use a straight edge like I did and then just round off the corners. So just keep in mind it is an underseat, and if someone looks under your midsection of your boat and says, hey, this one's got more of an oblong top, whereas this one's more straight, well, tell them they're not allowed to ride on your boat, because I think that's pretty fair. Anyway, what I'm going to go ahead and do, just to make sure we get a perfectly straight edge, is I'm going to clamp a piece of wood to go all the way across here, and I'll use it as a guide with my oscillating blade. And then when we get around the corner, I'll do that by hand, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is my setup. Like I said, I will just go ahead and cut along that side and then flip the clamps on the other way, so on and so forth, and we'll get this piece cut out. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so pretty straight cut so far. Stopped right there, we flipped it around, and we'll cut that side. Okay, so we got both sides cut. There's no real way to get your clamps on this side, so what I'll do is I'll actually brace this with my space boot, aka Tyvek suit, and I'll cut this way, and then I'll freehand these little pieces here. Jeez, a little bit harder to cut a circle with a square object than I thought. So anyway, this is what it looks like. So now we have access to get to these where the seats are going to bolt up to. Now we have access to it. Very similar to how we have over here. Plus, as we remove the front piece of the wood flooring that's up here amongst all this dirt, this is actually carpet. Believe it or not, as I'm feeling it, this is actually carpet. Really crazy. So what we'll do now is, now that we have access under here, we'll start demoing some further pieces of fiberglass to get ultimately this part underneath out of there. Okay, and what we'll start by doing is I'm going to try to cut it right at the seam here. So what makes it a little tricky is we're going to hit the oscillating blade. If I can get this piece of foam out of here, we're going to hit it at like this kind of angle, and we'll end up filling this back in with fiberglass, or sorry, with either, it could be fiberglass. We'll see what we're going to do once we get up underneath here and start looking at it. But first things first, we got to get the carpet out that's underneath this. You can see when they had this boat in two different pieces, they actually laid carpet underneath between this fiberglass here and this fiberglass upper piece. So I'll go ahead and spend some time, and we'll go cut all along this edge, and we'll get this piece out of here. We may reuse it, I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to try to make it nice as we go around the corners and stuff. I'll try to make it nice so we don't, if we do need to reuse it, we can. If not, then we'll make it work. We've got plenty of ideas to make this successful. So anyway, let's go ahead and cut. I'll start cutting right here. Okay, so we made the cuts all along the edges. Let's try popping this up, see what happens. Immediately I see a lot of exposed wood. That's not good. This exposed wood is very wet under there. Alright, so one thing's for sure, this forward piece has been proven very difficult to get out, so I just went and cut it in half. See if we can remove it that way. What do you think about that? It's pretty bad, right? So, if I had any thoughts about not removing the floorboard in the front, I've just gotten that warm, fuzzy feeling of why it is that I took this off. Because it's well worth it. Well worth it. Look at this. It's all wet. Let's see here. Sliding blade. Jeez. Yeah, pretty bad. And then you can see underneath here, they put a layer of fiberglass. So this must be multiple layers they put in here. But this is definitely not in very good shape. Let's see if we can remove this front piece now. Okay. And that's that piece. So, I bet you're thinking, well, what's next? Well, what we're going to start doing is, it's kind of hard to tell in the front of any given boat, where does the wood terminate as it pertains to the fiberglass. And it's hard to say. You can start to see a little bit of the hull itself exposed right there. So that's probably a good measure of knowing where the fiberglass ends and whatnot. So what I'm going to do, just because I know there's some space underneath here, is I'll actually start cutting through the wood and then start working my way towards the outer parts of the boat. This way I don't accidentally cut through the bottom. So one of the things you can see here, this is all warm too, it's really weird. But you can see how the boat actually transitions downwards. What we're gonna do is see, once we get all this paper mache out, I'll see if there's a way maybe we can cut kind of close to here on both sides. This way we do the most effective amount of wood removal without trying to have to, you know, start with like a foot by foot here and then keep working our way out. Especially with an oscillating blade, that would take forever. So we'll probably start about 2 inches from the edges here, right? And then we'll figure out where the end of the boat, where the outside of the skin is on the boat, and then kind of work towards it. So that's what my plan is. Let's see what happens now. Okay, so you can see here where I kind of cut along the edge. Let's see what happens here. Put a little bit of weight on it. Wish me luck here. I'm going to give it a nice little kick. Ta-da! Now, let's see if we can get it out of the boat. I may have just made life really hard. And I may have to hit it a little bit more with the oscillating saw right there along that edge. But look at that. Look at the carpet underneath here. What a bunch of idiots who installed this boat. I can't believe they would put carpet underneath this. If we can get this out in one shot. Help keep the boat clean in here. Ha! You're right. But look at that. Why would they put carpet underneath here? I guess it was just easier than trimming it. But still. Okay, well, anyway. I'll go ahead and finish cutting along that edge. Okay. Here goes nothing. Look at that. Pretty bad. Still can't get over the carpet underneath there. Kind of weird. Okay, so here we go. As we're looking out underneath here, I'm really kind of curious what's underneath this bulkhead here. You can see we're kind of getting close to the edges, so that's to be expected. So I'll probably, my next cut is going to be up in here along this edge. Try to figure out where the wood stops, because obviously it goes all the way around, but I want to make sure everything looks okay under there. Okay, not gonna lie, to get this front part out very delicately is very tough. I wasn't very happy about it, but we're here. Believe it or not, I think I found the first piece of wood that was still intact. That's this bulkhead right here. So I don't know, I may leave it there. Let's see. Yeah, it's only 1/2 inch, and this is a pretty widely used area for, you know, approximately, I don't know, what, 4 people, 3 people? So I may redo this with 3/4 inch. We'll see. Well, I said we were all done with the foam on the back, but obviously in the front there's still going to be some more. So I'll go ahead and remove that little piece of foam, and then we'll see about trying to remove the carpet along the inner sides up there. So we'll see if we can get any luck. I'm going to see if I can try to pull it out from within the center. So we'll see what kind of luck I have. Okay, so with a little bit of work, we removed the bulkhead up front and all the foam. Looks like everything is actually in pretty good condition so far. And I'm not talking about the wood either. The wood is on the floorboard is pretty bad, but the outer shell of the boat is in what I would say pretty good condition. The bulkhead actually was rotten. I just thought it was good because it was encased in fiberglass. Okay, so let's see about trying to pull that carpet out now from underneath these edges. Let's see if we can get any luck pulling it out.
All right, so we've made a lot of good progress here. Pulling the carpet out from underneath here has proven to be very, very challenging. I did get it out on this side, and you can see all the leftover life preserver from when the raccoons were in here making a nest. And we've removed that bulkhead that we thought was good but is actually rotten. You can see here the live well is completely removed, and we still have some carpet which is also stuck underneath this center section. So got a little bit more work to do. We are going to start removing the floorboard along the front here, and it's the same concept like we did here. We're going to cut and then kind of, you'll see it actually turn a little bit here and then make it all the way forward, and then we'll pull the floorboard out. And once the floorboard is removed, we'll start removing the foam, and then lastly we'll get the stringers out. Hopefully this one comes out pretty easy since it's somewhat solid. We'll see. And then also what makes it nice and easy is we can cut the seam of the stringer all the way forward over from here all the way up. Same thing on this side. Won't be much longer until we got this thing completely demoed out. Once we do that, we're going to have probably a full day, and I mean it too, it's going to be a full day of grinding all the little edges off. And we'll do a whole video on how we're going to do that. It makes a whole lot of mess. And it takes probably to do this entire boat, it's likely going to be about 8 hours to get it all ground down. And the goal is to expose any kind of spots that you may have gone and completely went through, like right here. I actually went right through the boat on accident there. And we'll mark that off, and we'll grind this edge off real nice and flat, and we'll go through and fix that. You'll see how I do that. But as we kind of discussed earlier on in the project, we said that that may actually happen. So it has, and it's not a big deal if you do go through the bottom. The patch that we're going to do to fix it will be a lot stronger than the outside of the boat anyway, because we're going to layer it up real good and make sure it doesn't leak. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you like what you see here. Hopefully by the next video we've got the floorboard completely removed. That's going to be the goal. As always, if you thought the video was helpful, like it, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Leave me some feedback if you got questions. Stay tuned to the next episode. Have a good one.